Today we're going to be talking about market pricing and how you can benefit from tracking and understanding your products online. It's part of my Managing the Channel series of videos which I just began yesterday. And my audience is really channel organizations and people within them who are looking to understand more about the lesser discussed aspects of the channel to really help them drive forward with a successful channel strategy and really bringing execution into that strategy. So there are very few vendors or brands who have the data available to them today to understand the true extent of their products pricing online. One of the benefits of running a channel organization is to leverage the pre-existing channels and niches which you don't really have the resource or the knowledge or relationships or even the technology to penetrate yourself. So you leverage distributors and resellers who have that market already set up and a way to expand it. However, these benefits come at a cost, as we all know, and that cost is really around having a loss of control downstream. The risk to your brand is pretty high, I would say, if your distributors, even just one of them, or resellers begin to favor competitor offerings or using your brand in a way that benefits them but doesn't benefit you, comes at your expense. One obvious example in the e-commerce route to market would be when an e-commerce partner starts to loss lead with your brand and do it continually. This damages your brand. It doesn't benefit you in any way, but you may see effects of that in your revenue, in your reports, but you may not know exactly why. So a quick bit about me in case you don't know who I am. My name is David Porter. I am the CEO at TPC Global. We are a channel analytics company. We deliver channel tools and data and projects to global vendors. We work with Cisco Systems, HP Aruba, VMware, APC, so Schneider, and a small set of others. We're a relatively small business, but what we've gained over the last 6 years, and for me personally, across about the last 13 or 14 years, is a very deep understanding of how channels can operate in a much more efficient way. So luckily, today there are quite a few options on the market to gain back a little bit of control that you've lost in operating a channel while still reaping the benefits of having a channel. It's not about channel programs necessarily, or about how strong your relationships are with your channel partners, although those are very important things for sure, but it is very much about data. So in today's world, we are told that data is the new gold, right? But not many of us really see it in that way. I don't even see it in that way, and I run effectively a data company. However, there are an increasing number of market data providers, and I mean, I'm not talking about the indicative analytics you get that understand about market sizing and that type of strategic decision-making support. What I'm talking about is providers that are going to give you granular levels of detail about your products pricing online. This is very much about pricing. So price monitoring is a relatively well-known service. So is price scraping as an activity, but it's still left up to you when you work with these companies and you receive data from them. It's still up to you to take that data that you receive and to enrich it, and then from there to drive insights and actions out of it. And that's no easy activity for sure. This is something that we built up over a number of years actually to put some automation in place and to support vendors to give them that value add. I mean, it's not easy. It took me a long time to put in place what was needed around our price mark portfolio and database. but it's definitely achievable. But the most important thing is obviously having the data in the first place. What I want to do here is just spend the next few minutes talking to you really as an advisor to say, what are the benefits going to be if you're not doing this already, i.e. taking data from the market, what those benefits that you're missing out on. And if you are already, hopefully this gives you an idea of maybe what you're not doing that you could be doing with the data. So my advice today is this: try and understand your channel pricing from the perspective of the street. And the street for you is the customer at the point of purchase from your resellers. So you could call this the street price, you could call it the advertised street price, you could call it the online price. It's basically the pricing that's derived from e-commerce partners and from marketplaces like Amazon, for example. Once you start to take this data, there's really two levels within this type of monitored data that you're receiving. One is what you receive in itself, and the other is what then you would need to do to it to make it better. I want to talk about really the benefits of just what you receive, just straight off the bat. So the first thing that I always talk to people about when it comes to market pricing data, people expect me to talk straight away about pricing. It's not. Pricing is not just about pricing. The thing I always try and talk about first, and nobody else really talks about this, is market coverage. Market coverage. What I mean by market coverage is your products, where they are on the market, and in comparison actually to your competitors. But we'll get to competitive comparisons in a moment. Market coverage is relatively easy to start understanding, even with raw data, raw pricing data that you receive. What happens within a vendor's environment is that they have their own reports, and you have your analysis, and you have your bookings or your revenues that are coming from your partner base, and you're able to do analysis on that, and you almost certainly have a structure in place to do that. The thing is, that's very operating a little bit blind in one way when we talk about how good a partner is, or how well they're growing, or how many transactions they're doing, for example, because we're seeing that just in very tunnel vision. And what I mean by that is when you take that and then you take the data you have from the market, and you can see that same partner that from the perspective of what they have online, what they sell, you could start to look at your data and go, well, wait a minute, their revenues are growing, they're selling 4 or 5 dozen of our products, and they're pretty good on renewals and services. We're happy with them. And then you can look at the data that comes from online, and you go, but wait a minute, they cover other categories they don't even sell into for us, and they're also they have many more products from our competitors than us. And when you think of it like that, you previously thought that they're one of your top partners and you're very happy with them. Now you're recognizing that they're one of your top partners, but there's potential for them to do even more. That's very insightful. The second thing is about pricing behaviors. So this is about partner behavior more than anything. I mean, availability is in there as well. So of course, having products that are not available regularly is obviously a problem, and knowing whether that's a problem with you or a problem with the chain that the reseller is part of, compared to your competitors that they also sell is also very insightful. But pricing behaviors, I mentioned before about things like loss leading. It's when the data starts to grow, meaning you get daily data and it starts to be appended, and you can start to create trends out of that data. You can start to see whether pricing at the level of detail of the product level, you can start to see whether the pricing changes that are occurring are ad hoc, natural small ups and downs while resellers are cajoling, um, competing for position within their market, or whether there's some fundamental changes that take place within your pricing. So something like a 20% drop that's been in place for the last week or so, that you don't have anywhere else in your history, that is combined with a 10% change in your competitors. Well, you could say that's a benefit or a negative, but these are the things that you need to be able to see, catch, and act on. And once you're taking that data, if you've got it structured, you can start to see that. So that's pricing behaviors with just one or two examples. And the third, final one, is about specialisms and partner initiatives. So partner initiatives are happening on a regular basis. Of course, you have channel programs in place, and you're looking at you have teams, pricing teams, channel marketing teams, and of course you have your channel sales teams who are looking at things like promotions, new products that are being introduced also to the market, and how to introduce them well, advertising spends, and then looking at your channel programs to see whether there are the right set of initiatives in there that are going to incentivize your partner base to sell through, to increase their sell through. So with e-commerce partners, everything's online in a way. What they sell is all there online. I just mentioned before about how you can find out that the categories of which they're selling into for you don't match the full set of categories that they sell across. That's just one example. What you can find is that there's niches within your e-commerce partner base that maybe you're not taking advantage of now, that could be aligned to a test of a new partner initiative. It could become a new program within the e-commerce route to market. The other is specialisms, which ties in a little bit, and I want to mention market gaps, so gaps in your partner base when talking about this. So a common activity within a vendor, within a channel organization, is to look at where the gaps are compared to the strategy going forwards, and to fill those gaps. Now, because data has not been on your side really for a very long time, those decisions are made a little bit in the dark, and it's taken from your sales, from your revenue and your reports. What you have now, if you take market pricing data, is an ability to look at where specialisms exist in the companies that are doing the most business with you already, almost certainly the most business as a transactional business model, and where they can be incentivized to do more. So there are specialisms that exist within those companies that you can take advantage of, and also you can look at where that can be differentiated from your competitors as well. These three things, so market coverage, pricing and availability, behavior, and specialisms and partner initiatives, are three things you can do without having to do anything too crazy and too complicated with that data that you receive. However, as I mentioned before, there is another side to this, which is, I would say, the more complicated side, which is why partly why we exist as a company, and I'm so passionate about market pricing, because for vendors they have very different needs to resellers, and this marketplace of price monitoring companies, data scraping companies and activities has always been focused on the reseller level of the market, or potentially the distributor, mainly the reseller level of the market. And the needs of a reseller when it comes to market pricing is extremely different to the needs of a vendor. And a vendor like yourself is needing, the key difference is that you need benchmarked pricing data. You need pricing data which is set against your competitors, even at the product level. which is the holy grail of this type of work. It's activities we've done yeah, like constantly for the last 2.5-3 years, and don't get me wrong, it's very, very difficult, and it's not I would say it's almost never going to be 100% perfect, close but not 100% perfect. But when you can get to the point of benchmarking all of these things, you are at a competitive advantage. Benchmarking is an activity that will take quite a lot of time to set up without support, so that's something to think about. But if you think about having the ability to look even just category versus category at you versus your competitors, this is already going to be a game changer for you. So these are the types of things that I'd like you to think about and consider with either what you're doing already or what you're looking to do when you're engaging with market data providers and receiving that data. I'll leave it there for today. But if you'd like to know more, just contact me. Very approachable, as you can see, and I'm happy to talk with you about what we do. But otherwise, I hope there was value to this. I think that it's a wonderful world to be in at the moment with market and channel pricing. And please look out for more videos that I'll be putting out in this Managing the Channel series. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you for your time, everyone, and have a great day. Bye.